The Bald Hero. The Bald Hero in The Strongest Battlegrounds is a representation of the main character of the One Punch Man series, Saitama. Bald Hero is the oldest character out of all currently existing ones, being available as the one of two characters in TSB's testing era and as the first free character in the official debut of the game. This character's moveset is a representation of strength through simplicity. His base moveset consists of simple close combat moves, lacking any type of mobility or ranged techniques. He can also deflect projectiles with this shove, which means he has some way to defend himself at range. He's also able to produce new combos despite being the oldest character, which is a testament to his longevity. To further aid his strength in close quarters, he's armed with one of the fastest punching speeds in the game alongside Hero Hunter, who I will talk about later. His passive reduces the amount of damage a player must deal to unlock his ultimate, and finishers help gain extra meter for the bar. These traits of the Bald Hero character make him beginner-friendly, while also giving experienced players wiggle room to unleash the full potential of his build. The Hero Hunter. The Hero Hunter in The Strongest Battlegrounds is a representation of the main antagonist of the Monster Association arc of One Punch Man, Garou. Hero Hunter is the second oldest character, being released shortly after The Strongest Battlegrounds became available to the public as an official game. This character's moveset is a representation of wrath through the use of martial arts. Hero Hunter's base moveset consists of close combat moves just like the Bald Hero, but where they diverge is in the mobility and extra perks granted upon using each move. Once any move of this kit is activated, the user will be granted invincibility until the move ends. These base moves are also capable of damaging multiple people at once. Two of these moves, Flowing Water and Lethal Whirlwind Stream, are mobile moves, meaning that the user can cover more ground quickly. Hero Hunter also comes armed with a counter which adds onto his defensive attributes. This same counter deflects projectiles that are thrown at you. Hero Hunter strings together combos effortlessly, with a vast potential for unlocking new ones thanks to his unique kit mechanics. To boot, he comes armed with a fast punching speed that makes it hard for opponents to escape combos. He also throws people in the air on the final M1. Funny. Hero Hunter's passive in base allows him to regain health upon every finisher that activates, which is a reference to Garou's ability to keep fighting in important moments. These traits of the Hero Hunter are inviting for beginners to use him, but hold a vast skill ceiling that is more dependent upon the player than the kit itself. The Destructive Cyborg. The Destructive Cyborg in The Strongest Battlegrounds is a representation of the disciple of Saitama in One Punch Man, Genos. He is the third character to be released in The Strongest Battlegrounds after the Hero Hunter. The Destructive Cyborg has come a long way since his release, seeing many improvements in his kit and usage overall. This character's moveset represents destruction through the use of cybernetic firepower. Destructive Cyborg's base moveset consists of mid to long-ranged moves, being the first character in the game to incorporate an actual ranged attack into their moveset. He is able to deal high amounts of damage, and excels at taking care of multiple enemies at once. Despite this fact, his entire moveset is blockable, a hard counter that halves his damage. Thankfully, Destructive Cyborg has several workarounds built into his moveset to counter that, like the initial blast from Ignition Burst. Cyborg has decent M1s, letting him keep up with other characters. His final M1 is also unique, shooting a blast from his fist that extends the hitbox. His uppercut also throws an enemy higher in the air, for whatever that's worth. He is one of the only two characters in the game that are capable of flight, allowing cyborgs to maneuver themselves in the air and move quickly around small portions of the map. A very unique aspect about Destructive Cyborg is his explosive ragdoll cancel, dealing an additional amount of damage to enemies who are caught in the burst. When talking about passives, Destructive Cyborg undoubtedly has the best in the game, with him reloading his moves after executing a finisher on an enemy. The traits of the Destructive Cyborg may not be immediately pleasant for beginners at first, but if you put in the time in learning the ins and outs of his kit, players will find a pleasant experience in raining destruction across the map. The Deadly Ninja. The Deadly Ninja in The Strongest Battlegrounds is a representation of Saitama's self-appointed rival in One Punch Man, Speedo Sound Sonic. He is the fourth character to be released in The Strongest Battlegrounds after the Destructive Cyborg, and undoubtedly the most hated character in the game. This character's moveset represents speed through shinobi-like techniques. Deadly Ninja's moveset consists of close to mid-ranged moves, being the second character in the game to have a ranged move and the first to wield a sword. Deadly Ninja's moves in his base kit are fast, really fast, with his moves showing him teleporting. The emphasis on this mobile aspect of his kit encourages players to play a clash and dash style whilst using Deadly Ninja, taking into account that all his moves except for his ranged one are blockable in combat. To make things worse, he does not have iframes during any of his moves. Players are reminded to play smart with Deadly Ninja since he has so many vulnerabilities in general, encouraging them to use surprise attacks if necessary. He comes equipped with fast M1S and a katana to aid his speediness, and for what he lacks in the damage department he makes back with his passive. Kind of. Deadly Ninja's passive allows him to gain 3 teleport dashes upon finishing an opponent, which is useful in confusing enemies and bypassing their block. The TSB community has an unyielding hatred for Deadly Ninja, claiming the character is brain dead because of the spam and how annoying it is to fight, especially since Deadly Ninjas run all the time. Is this all a huge reference to how annoying Sonic is in the actual anime? Who knows? The traits of Deadly Ninja are extremely appealing to beginners, while more experienced players tend to stay away from the character because the risk-to-reward ratio is too high. The Brutal Demon. The Brutal Demon in The Strongest Battlegrounds is a representation of the hot-headed S-class hero from One Punch Man, Metal Bat. He is the 5th character to be released after the Deadly Ninja. This character's moveset represents recklessness through brute strength. Brutal Demon's moveset consists of close to mid-ranged moves. Being the Brutal Demon alone already places immense pressure on enemies, as all of his moves have invincibility frames and are able to do area damage. Blessed with some mobility moves, Brutal Demon is faster than the bald hero and doesn't have to rely on tanking damage, but is not as mobile as someone like Genos who can fly around the map. His moves also contain many variants, which opens up the possibility to create or extend combos in new ways. Despite being the perfect all-rounder on paper, Brutal Demon's flaws come in the form of his strength. His M1s are unique, with him wielding a bat which automatically downslams people on the final hit. This bat also seems to be extremely heavy, causing Brutal Demon to swing extremely slow compared to other characters. He also has a long wind-up on some moves, restricting him from blindly spamming guard break attacks with no risk. As a built-in last resort, his passive is tailored to assist him when Brutal Demon is against all odds. This passive speeds up Brutal Demon's ultimate gain by using the damage he takes as additional fuel for the bar. This is a reference to Metal Bat's fighting spirit in One Punch Man, which allows Metal Bat to grow stronger as fights go on. The traits of Brutal Demon may attract beginners due to how brash and fun his kit can be, but push away more experienced players due to his kit being outclassed by others on a competitive level. The Blade Master. The Blade Master in The Strongest Battlegrounds is a representation of the strongest sword master and S-class hero in One Punch Man, Atomic Samurai. He is the 6th character to be released after the Brutal Demon, and the 2nd character whose primary weapon is a sword. This character's moveset represents precision through the blade. Blade Master's moveset consists of close to mid-ranged moves, and prioritizes dealing large amounts of damage through his combos. Although he is armed with guard-breaking techniques, users will find that they will have to use timing and precision in order to accurately hit these moves. He also is granted some mobility, allowing him to set himself up for potential attacks or break through enemies' guards. Since Blade Master is such a heavy hitter, some of his moves share the same curse as the Brutal Demon, meaning that they have long wind-up times and long windows of vulnerability. Blade Master is also given an extendable counter, being the only one out of the current 2 that can do this. Although he has a giant sword for a weapon, Blade Master has a fast swing rate that is on par with bare fist characters. This giant sword also knocks back enemies quite far. He is also equipped with a handy passive, which allows him to deal extra damage for 15 seconds upon finishing an enemy. The traits of the Blade Master are not suited for beginners of the game. He's more suited towards experienced players who are looking for a challenging but fun experience during combat. The Wild Psychic. The Wild Psychic in The Strongest Battlegrounds is a representation of the strongest Esper and S-class hero in One Punch Man, Tatsumaki. She is the 7th character to be released after Blade Master and is currently an early access character. This character's moveset represents potential through psychokinesis. Wild Psychic specializes in the mid-range area, dominating fights with her various psychic abilities. These abilities include pulling, trapping, and flying. Speaking of her flight, she has multiple ways to activate it, making her very mobile in combat. On top of this, all of Wild Psychic's moves do area damage, meaning she can take on multiple people at once. There are also fun little gimmicks installed into her kit, like Stone Coffin being able to block various moves. In her passive, she gains a 360-degree shield that deals 10% of a person's health upon bursting open. This shield only activates when blocking. Fun fact, Wild Psychic also has the easiest 100% combo in the game. Due to everything I have just explained, the community has currently deemed her as overpowered, claiming that she is already the best base character in the game without being released to the public yet. The traits of the Wild Psychic are extremely beginner-friendly, with it not taking too much thinking to do heavy damage as her. Experienced players can use her already powerful kit and combine it with their skill, making them an unstoppable force. Sorcerer. The Sorcerer in The Strongest Battlegrounds is a representation of the strongest sorcerer in Jujutsu Kaisen, Satoru Gojo. Technically the actual, strongest character in the game, Sorcerer is only available in private servers and to people who buy the private server Game Pass. His moveset is a one-to-one depiction of Gojo's actual moves in Jujutsu Kaisen, with his strongest passive ability, Infinity, carrying over into the moveset as a toggle between modes. Upon activation, this move makes Sorcerer literally invincible, with attacks deflecting or being slowed down the closer enemies are to him. He has no ultimate, but what's the need for one? He's the strongest sorcerer around. KJ. The KJ character in the Strongest Battlegrounds is a representation of, well, KJ from the KJ Stickman series. KJ is a developer-exclusive character, but there is a way to obtain him. The only way to obtain KJ legitimately is by donating Robux to the Strongest Battlegrounds and becoming the top donator. Upon becoming the top donator, you will unlock KJ and be able to play as him until the month resets, or so it was planned to be. Since only the top donator is able to obtain and play as KJ, there is a constant tug-of-war between the highest bidders to obtain KJ, even if it's for a few minutes, making KJ the rarest character in the game. The moveset remains unfinished as of right now since KJ is only a passion project for the devs, but contains references to actual moves from the series. The Rival. The Rival is the pseudonym that I've given to Suiryu, the next character to be released after the Wild Psychic. Since we are not able to access him as of right now, I'm going to speculate what his base kit will look like. Rival's base kit will most likely be a close combat moveset similar to the Hero Hunters, since Suiryu from One Punch Man trains in the martial arts. His leaked move also hints to this, and he will likely be the third character to have a counter.